Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're checking out the FAYEE F603 fly egg. I guess this is not really a nano size, this is more of a micro size, a little smaller than mini size. And what we're going to be doing is an unboxing, inspection, setup, and flight tests and pros and cons in this one, like I do with all my other videos. And I will have this one down in the description, so if you're interested in checking out the pricing on this guy and or more of the specs, go ahead and click that link down below the video. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and start unboxing this thing. Okay, so looks like this one, I mean, this was a review model, so it looks like it's already been attached from inside. Maybe they just wanted to make sure it worked before they sent it to me, but I did not detach those tie wraps there. That's how it came. And let me go ahead and pull this out here and see what we got in the box before we check out the quad. So another tier of a controller and some other things, and then we have some manuals in here. And that's everything in the box. Pulling out the controller here, a cool looking little, more of a squarish looking mini controller. And then a couple of bags of goodies. So first of all, let's give this quadcopter a thorough inspection. It looks like it's got a camera on the front, so we're going to remove this little camera guard. Neat looking little drone here. And I really like the way they're doing this propeller guard. That's actually a really good intuitive idea because you have a limited amount of drag for the propellers, but it looks like it'll protect the whole thing all the way around. There's the battery compartment in the back. Let's see how we take this off. So it looks like we're just kind of sliding this back. Oh, okay, so it is kind of a proprietary battery here with that little Pico connector up front. And I can't really see the specs on the battery because it's in here, so maybe it'll tell us what the specs are in the manual. It'll definitely tell us what the specs are on that link I'll have down in the description if I can't get to that. There's a little on-off switch there on that side there. Let's slide that back in. Yeah, so that's going to turn that off and on. So apparently this is the Wi-Fi version. I just don't know what's up with that antenna holder there. It's just blank. There's nothing in there. Anyway, regardless, there it is. Looks pretty cool. Let's go ahead and see if we can take off these propeller guards if we wanted to. Okay, cool. So that's neat. It's just kind of a twist lock deal where you push it in, you push them on up. That's very intuitive. That's awesome. You push it on up and then you twist it and it locks so it won't come back off. So that's pretty neat. Really easy to take off. You're just twisting to the left or right and then pulling it off. And there's the whole prop guard. All you have is that thing. Very light and not much to deal with. That's pretty great. I kind of like that. Anyway, that's how it looks without the prop guards on. A little bit more clean and sleek. That prop guard thing does give it a kind of a unique look though, doesn't it? Anyway, there's the quad, and it's saying smart on the very top. Let's see what's in these other bags. So this one is just a USB charger and an extra set of 4 propellers and a screwdriver. So you get covered with an extra set of props. And then this looks like it's going to be your cell phone adapter for the controller. So this looks like it is the FPV version. Before we go ahead and put on this FPV bracket, let's go ahead and check out the controller. So it feels like it's going to be altitude hold. You see how the throttle stick is popping, spring loading back up to the center. Yaw, pitch, and roll. And then we have up top here, it looks like we have multiple buttons. 2 buttons on each trigger. The control sticks feel like they're not clicking in, and then we have this pad here and then this pad over here. Power off and on switch, and that's pretty much it. Let me see what kind of batteries this thing takes real quick. Looks like it does have a screw here, so you're gonna have to use that screwdriver that comes in the box or your own screwdriver. Put your batteries in. 3 AAA batteries, and yeah, this thing pops in nice and tight. Maybe bend this out a little bit so it clicks in really tight, so you won't have to put that screw back in there if you don't want to. Anyway, that's it for the controller. Let's see how this thing mounts up. I haven't even looked at the instructions yet, so I might be shooting myself in the foot, but let's just give it a try, see how intuitive this is without instructions. So I'm just sliding this thing off. So it looks like this thing is going to be a separate piece you're going to have to either leave off or store somewhere. And then really easy. All it is this thing sliding in its place. And that's it. This is a spring loaded. You can hear that spring and I can feel some tension in here. To put your phone in, speaking of phone, let me grab my LG phone. So this is, I believe this is what, a 5.5-inch phone, and so that's going to fit the 5.5-inch phone like that, and then just pushing up, you got maybe another 1/4 inch of room, just to let you know, on if you wanted to put like a different size phone in. So it seems like it will probably fit a iPhone 6 Plus size, just barely. And it only has 2 little notches of pitch control here. It feels like it will fall down if your phone's too heavy. You see how that's falling down. So realistically, it's going to be down like this while you're flying. Anyways, let's see what the controls do in the manual. Okay, so the right part of the top left button is going to be our video, and the left side is going to be pictures. Then on the right trigger here, we're doing our speed profile, which is the left side of the right trigger. So changing the flight speed, and it looks like this is going to be roll or flips here, that one there. Then of course pitch and roll and yaw and throttle. This one here up on this D-pad is going to be headless mode, and left and right, left side is going to be 1-button start, so that's probably going to start your propellers up, and then the right side is going to be takeoff and landing. Doesn't say anything about this bottom button, so we'll have to double check that in our flight. Then on the right little D-pad here we have forward and back trimming, and then left and right roll trimming. That's pretty much it. Power off and on switch, and we're good to go. They do also give you another pamphlet here, and this is how to connect to your Android and or iPhone. Pretty simple. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go through the whole thing in this video, but it's very similar to a lot of the other FPV apps. Looks like you're just going to the App Store and you're just downloading that generic Wi-Fi UFO app at the App Store and going ahead and installing that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing all charged up. Go ahead and do a flight and do a little pros and cons. I'll have the phone up with the FPV, go through all the controls. I'll have the video this thing's recording on the screen so you can see how good it is. And then we'll go ahead and do a little pros and cons. All right, let's go fly. All right guys, so let's go ahead and try out this little Smart Egg flyer in the house in a no wind environment, and then we'll go ahead and take it out to the park. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fly it without the cage, the safety cage, and then it's so easy to take on and off. I'll go ahead and throw it on, you know, mid-flight, and we'll try to bang it around the house a little bit and just see how much that protects this thing. Power this thing on. You can see the lights start to blink, and turning on the controller. Got a few beeps up and down. Looks like it binds it. Now the lights are on solid on the quad, and we want to make sure that we connect our Wi-Fi first. So I'm going to go into my Wi-Fi settings, and I'm going to look for this thing's Wi-Fi. There it is. So it's a Wi-Fi UFO, something with some letters and numbers afterwards, and that's the one I want to connect to because that's the new one that came up. So it looks like that one is connected. And you want to make sure you download the Wi-Fi UFO app from the App Store, whether it's iOS or Android. And I'm going to go ahead and launch this now. And there we go. So we got the splash screen here, and there's a button here called play. So I'm going to go ahead and press play there. And there's our FPV. Nice. Okay, that was easy. So we can see that we have our real-time FPV. Not a bad lag for a Wi-Fi. It's very actually low latency for Wi-Fi, so that's pretty good so far. So let's go ahead and mount the phone up in here into this little bracket here. Now keep in mind this bracket is a little weak, so it seems to have only like 2 notches, and it wants to always kind of fall back to the second notch, so I'm just going to leave it there. So I'm going to take a photo real quick, and it's going to save all photo and video into the phone. It doesn't have any onboard SD card recording. This one can also control straight from the app, so if you don't want to connect your controller, you can go ahead and just bind it to the phone and control it through the phone. In this review I'm just going to be using the controller here, so I want to turn these on-screen controls off with that button. And we'll go ahead and take a snapshot. I'm not seeing any indication it's saving successfully. I'll have those pop up on the screen if they do. I'm going to go ahead and start the recording.
Looks like that record button, there it goes. So it went ahead and turned green, and now it's showing me record there with some time ticking away. Cool, so let's go ahead and launch this thing, if I can remember how to launch it. Okay, so I'm going to press left on the D-pad, and then push up to launch. There we go. So I just had to push up on the throttle, and it went ahead and launched. So we're recording the video. We'll have that up on the screen. So real small and sleek looking little guy, that's for sure. Now let's see how this thing kind of hovers. There's no wind in here, and that is a hands-off hover. So very stable. Very much reminds me of like a Hubsan little mini quad, and it's doing very well. Looks like this is going to be our trim in all 4 directions. You can see how I just clicked to the right and it's going to the right. So it looks like out of the box, without any calibration, it's hovering pretty much perfectly. That's great. And it's also keeping its elevation with its altitude hold function. Looks like it's varying a little bit, like all quads do, you know, with barometers on board. Nice. So let's see what happens if we take a picture while it's going. If that did take a picture, I'll go ahead and have that pop up on the screen so you can see the quality. Let's go ahead and take a picture from this angle. Let me just kind of get this skull kind of centered here. Take a photo. Hopefully it's taking photos. Anywho, rate of yaw. So full yaw to the right. This is in rate 1. Looks like it's wandering a little bit when we're yawing. Kind of wandering around. Here's our pitch. Full pitch and roll in this rate. Stick is lock to lock there. And let's see if we go into rate 2. I believe that was the left part of the top right trigger. I'm hearing 2 beeps. Yeah, so we got a little bit more roll. Not a whole lot. So it takes a little while for it to get some momentum. But you do get, you know, a bit more angle there for flying faster. And also it does make the yaw go a bit faster too in rate 2. So that's good. Punch test from a hover, full throttle up. So very slow altitude punching, climbing, vertical speed. And that's okay because it is altitude hold, and that's kind of how they all are in altitude hold toy quads. Some are faster than others. This one seems kind of on the slow side. Let's do that again. Full throttle up. That's what you can expect. Full throttle down while we're at it. About the same speed. Let's see if we go ahead and press this right part of the top trigger. That looks like a flip. Yep. Wow, nice little tight flips, and it maintains its altitude. Try again. Let's do a roll to the left. So you click it, you hear beeping, and you push the stick in the direction you want to go. Wow, backflip. Very good. Flips very nicely and stable. Very impressed with that. I think maybe these, let's see what this left trigger does. So the right part of the left trigger, does that do anything? Nope. Left part of the left trigger? No, so I think that's if you have the onboard SD card version, maybe that's going to start and stop video and pictures, because it doesn't seem like it's doing anything. You can see the green and or the blue and the red lights there on the bottom. Kind of hard to see unless you're directly underneath it. Anyway, what else can we do? Okay, this D-pad is the only other thing I haven't done. So let's try and go to the right on the D-pad. Is that a headless mode? No? I think the left was disarming and arming. Let's push up on the D-pad. Okay, that's return. Whoa! That was return to home. Okay, we need to power off here. Alright, so I had to hold the throttle down because it kept wanting to kind of fly when I lost orientation. So wouldn't recommend doing any kind of headless mode, and that was by pressing the down on this here. Either down or up. Maybe it was up. Anyway, let's see if it still launches. Still recording. Let's go ahead and relaunch. Pressing the left key and lifting off. That seems okay. So don't use return to home on this thing for sure. Oh, okay, pressing the right button puts it into a landing. So that was cool. So the right part of the D-pad here, that went ahead and landed it. So let's go ahead and take off again. Oh, and that also does an auto launch. Looked like it lifted off and then dropped and then lifted itself back up again, but it did launch automatically. Let's see if we press left on the thumbstick here, the D-pad actually. That's also auto landing. The left side will auto launch and land, but the right side will just auto land as far as I can see. And you know what? I think that's our battery. Let me go ahead and stop the recording here. So I think that's our battery. I wasn't able to fly it around with the cage, but I'm going to go ahead and recharge this right now, and we'll just do a little bash test in the house, and then we'll get out to do our park flight and our range tests and all that kind of stuff. So bear with me for a minute and let me charge this thing up, slap on this cage, and let's bash it around the house. Okay, so I got another charge in the Smart Egg battery. Let's go ahead and see how fast it is to put on this little propeller guard thing here. Looks like we're just sliding it over the bottom of the motors, nice and easy. And then we'll go ahead and do some house bashing and just see how well this thing kind of protects this. For, you know, a beginner, it looks like this might be a good beginner quadcopter to easily take off and on this thing, and also fly around your house and might be able to take some running into walls and the ceiling and stuff. So I'll just go ahead and take this whole controller bracket off and everything, and let's just fly it line of sight and kind of run it into some walls and see what it can do. So arming, left D-pad, launching. Let's go into rate 2. I can remember what that was. There we go. So rate 2, and say we're just going to fly around the house here nice and quickly. It seems to fly pretty good with this cage on. Getting a little bit of wander. You know, when you have a cage on like this, it's going to wander a bit. Let's try running it into the ceiling real quick. Let me go over here and just go full throttle up into the ceiling and see what happens. So 3, 2, 1, full throttle up. Boom, boom. If I really jam it, the props you can hear, they are hitting the cage a little bit, but just barely. Let's try to run it into a wall here. So full throttle forward, boom. So it actually will, if you go fast enough, the cage will hit the propellers, because you can see, whoop, we just lost a propeller too. I'm gonna have to find that. You can see how one propeller flew off. So if you go hard enough, you can see that the propellers are kind of close to the cage. So eventually it will hit and bend and hit your propellers. Let me go look for that propeller. I'll do just a little bit more house bashing. Okay, so the propeller is just over there on the couch, and really easy if your propeller comes off. These are just push-on propellers, so you can just really easily just go ahead and push them down, back on. And it looks like they'll only come off in like a really hard crash. So, and that one felt like it pushed on rather tight, so I don't imagine those will really be falling off too easily. Cool. So continuing on, maybe if you're a super beginner, put this cage on, but keep it in rate 1, because rate 2 seems like it goes a little bit too fast and might damage the propellers. You know, but for stuff like that, look at that. Does a really good job at protecting the top. And let's just try to fly into this wall kind of slow. Oh, see? So the cage, it won't protect it into any kind of momentum going into the wall, unfortunately. I was expecting it to be a little better. Okay, so really on the side hitting, really only if you're going really slow. See that? Really slow learning. Oh, see, it already hit even going that slow. and it left some marks on the wall. Yikes, so be careful of that. So it is a good cage for, you know, hitting the ceiling, but not so great for hitting the walls straight on. Let's go ahead and try to hit this slanted ceiling. See what happens if we, yeah, see how it's doing great. Get stuck on the ceiling, it won't damage anything. Yeah, so it's doing really good just hitting the ceiling. Try to maybe angle it in at the wall here, right at the corner. See how it does. Oh, pretty good at right at the angle. See, right in the front, if you hit something there. But the problem is, whoa. Okay, careful of grabbing it from the side. It's trying to self-level is what it was trying to do when I grabbed it. So just be careful with running it in like straight in, unless you're going really slow. I know I keep repeating that, but it still does fly really good with this cage. Anyway, good test regardless. We were able to see how this cage really performed in the house. And not quite as good as expected, but it does the job. You just want to make sure you fly really super slow with this cage on. And once you get faster, you really won't need the cage. So that's definitely way cool. It just pulls off, and that's it. There's your whole cage off. So let's take this thing to the park, do a flight test, range test, pros and cons, see how it does. Alright guys, so we're at the park now with the little smart egg here, and we're going to do a full park review of this one. We'll go ahead and see how the range is real quick. I think I went over pretty much everything in the house, so we'll just do a quick range test. And we'll see how fast it is and how fun to fly it is in the park. Got about maybe a variable 5 coming from this direction of the wind. Hit play. And there we are. So we got our FPV. I'm going to go ahead and take a snapshot there. So this one, everything, remember, it saves to the phone. So all the video is going to be on the phone and everything. So let's go ahead and start recording. Actually, let's just go launch. I want to stay in rate 2 because of the wind. And let's just see how this thing flies. Okay, so this one is altitude hold, and wow. I just reviewed that MJX Nano, and it had the same kind of very slow descent. Look how slow that is. That could be kind of dangerous, but let's just, you know, go for it. Anyway, there's the FPV. Let me go up a little bit, take a picture while it's hovering. If that took a picture, I'll have those pop up on the screen. And what I want to do now is start recording. So it should be recording to the phone, the FPV we're seeing in the phone. Okay. So not very far away. That was maybe 15, 20 feet, and I already saw a bunch of jitter in the FPV. And you'll probably see that possibly in the video as well. Anyway, I wanted to do a range test, so let's get on that real quick. The sun's going down, so let's hurry up. So I'm going to go up so we can see it against the clouds here. And let's see what the control range is, and also the FPV range. So looks like we're still in good control. This is about 100 feet. FPV is actually surprisingly still doing good. 200 feet. And I'm going to bring it back. Wow, so 200 feet, and we still have perfect FPV and perfect control range. So I'd imagine this thing could go 200, 300 feet, but it's just like a little speck out there. So that's as far as I'm going to go with it. But very good range on this one, even with the Wi-Fi FPV. Sometimes quads interfere with each other and you have a limited range when you're using the Wi-Fi, but this one's doing fine. Okay, so did the range test I wanted to do. Now I just want to go ahead and fly around as fast as possible. Let's see how it keeps its altitude in fast flying. Whoa, that was a little weird. I did let off the stick, and it seemed to have a little bit of a level out issue. That was kind of strange. I'm trying to fight the wind. So I'm in rate 2, and see that? It doesn't seem to want to really pitch hard into that wind. forward pitch is a little off for some reason. We'll see when I spin it around. The rear pitch is higher than the forward pitch right now for some reason. So really be careful with this one in any kind of wind. It's only like 5 miles per hour right now, and it's having some trouble fighting that and keeping its pitch going forward. But it is keeping its altitude very well because it's limiting its pitch, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so it's not really following in altitude, just a little bit when I go really fast with the wind. Coming towards the wind, it's able to maintain its altitude, no problem. I'm not touching the throttle. Sun's going down. Whew. It's getting a little bit dark here. But it's doing pretty good aside from that. A little bit of a hard time fighting the wind. Hard to see the lights too on this one. That's a little con there. Woo! And that's what you can expect for the max speed. So it is quite fast once it gets going. That's directly into the wind. The wind's now coming from that direction. And this is going with the wind. It's going to go a lot faster. I don't want to turn, not lose it. Yeah, it's doing good. Now I'm going to fly this until the battery dies, so you guys know how long it will last until it completely falls out of the sky. I don't recommend doing that. I just do it to let you guys know at my expense of how long you can fly it. Definitely bring it down when the lights flash or you get some kind of warning or indication. Usually, you know, I get some comments on people saying, hey, you're destroying all your batteries. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm destroying them for you guys so you know how long they're lasting. So just wanted to clear the air on that. In case you run into a situation, you'll know how long they last. But if you want them to last longer, the longevity of a LiPo battery, don't discharge it more than 20%, preferably, if not maybe even 30, to give it a very prolonged life in the long run of charge cycles. So now that that's said, let's go back to flying till this battery's dead. Which I don't mind doing. Okay, so not bad. You know what? I swear I'm getting much longer flight times than I did in the house with a lot of these quads I'm reviewing today. Oh, I'm full throttle up, and there we go. Spoke too soon. There goes our flight time. So I'll go ahead and have compiled the video. Let me go ahead and stop that. Hopefully that's saved on the phone, and I'll have had that video up on the screen so you guys can see how that looks. And some of the pictures, if it did take the pictures. You can see how the lights are flashing now. It's really hard to see those lights. You can't even see them from the side. You can't see them from the front. You only can see them from the very bottom. So pretty bad lighting on this. And that brings us to our first con. The lighting is pretty horrible. On this one I didn't go into any of the app control, but you should be able to control this from your phone as well. The Wi-Fi did pretty good actually. The FPV on this wasn't bad. And to still be in connection with Wi-Fi and control at between 200 and 300 feet, that's actually some of the better distances I have seen with phone Wi-Fi. And you can be the judge of how good the camera quality is. This doesn't have any SD card on there, so the camera quality is not going to be that good. It's going to record what is seen on the FPV on the phone. So aside from the lights being kind of low quality, and then it had that little bit of a leveling issue where I'd be in rate 2 and I'd try to be pitching full pitch forward into the wind. It seemed to be one of those ones that slowly like leveled out a little bit, and it was having a hard time fighting the wind. So you had to move the stick around, fly around a little bit, and it kind of like bring it back to normal. So I'm not sure, maybe a gyro thing. But besides that, man, pretty good flyer, great altitude holding ability. It does again come with that cage, so if you're a super beginner, put that on, but don't be crashing into any walls hard as you saw in my house, or you'll be cutting your walls and propellers will be flying off even with that cage. It's better for just hitting the ceiling. But yeah, I can't get over the range on this thing. Pretty impressed, pretty amazing. And I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I do a lot of reviews like this, so check out the channel and please subscribe. And don't forget, this guy will be in the link. If you enjoyed this thing and you want to see more about it and you want to see the current pricing and also more specs, go ahead and click that link down there and check it out. It helps me out to keep these reviews coming, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.